All right, so tonight we are learning about Pesach through the eyes of Reb Tzadok HaKaim. And so everybody knows that Pesach is a holiday of eating. Okay, we're doing a lot of eating on Pesach. Like, you know, this famous joke, every Jewish holiday, they wanted to kill us, Hashem saved us, let's eat. Right? So this is the name of the game of Pesach. There's a lot of eating. But it happens to be that Pesach, the eating is a little bit different than every other eating, because this is the holiest eating that we're going to do the entire year. This is the one time in Judaism, this is the one time in Torah that eating is a mitzvah, that it's a mitzvah from the Torah, and it's the only time that we say a bracha, meaning like Shabbos is also a mitzvah to eat, and of course calories that you eat on Shabbos don't count, but the difference is that the night of the Seder, so it's the only time that we say a blessing. We say Asher Kedushan Mitzvah Tzivanu, Al Chidas Matzah, Al Chidas Mar, etc. And so that means that there's something different. There's something different about the nature of the eating on Pesach than the nature of the eating on Shabbos. That it's a more direct mitzvah. It's a more direct avodah, and it is the avodah of eating, that the service of God and the fixing ourselves and the elevation of ourselves through eating is really put more under a microscope, is more put in on the spotlight. And so the mitzvah of Pesach, besides being the only time in the entire year that we say bracha on eating, so it's also the very first mitzvah that we got as a nation. Right, the first thing after that as we were having a Yetzias Mitzrayim, that when Hashem was telling us as a nation, so the first mitzvah is obviously Kiddush HaChodesh. We spoke about that last week, but Kiddush HaChodesh was really an introduction to the holiday of Pesach, and this is the first mitzvahs that we have. Is as a nation is the mitzvahs of Pesach, which is mitzvahs of eating. Okay, so why would it be? Why would it be that the very first mitzvah that we have as a nation is the mitzvah which is relating to eating? That is because, says Reb Tzadok, the purpose of the holiday of Pesach is to rectify, to fix the sin of the tree of knowledge. And the tree of knowledge was a sin of eating, and therefore to go back to that first sin, so we want to fix the sin of eating with elevated, rectified, fixed eating. Okay, that's what we're doing in Pesach. So the reason why we're eating so much is because we're actually doing something very, very holy. We're actually trying to fix the sin of the golden of the tree of knowledge. In fact, the tree of knowledge. So there's different opinions as to what the tree of knowledge was, and there's one opinion that it was a wheat tree. It was a wheat tree.
Wheat doesn't grow on trees.
And so you might ask that wheat doesn't grow on trees, but
neither does money.
But that's because you're living after the sin. But actually before the sin, so wheat actually grew on a tree. And the fact that wheat doesn't grow on a tree is actually a result of the fact that the entire world was messed over. And the difference between trees and not trees is the trees are more elevated and vegetables are more lowly. And that's why people food is supposed to be things that grow on trees, and animal food is supposed to be things that grow on the ground. And that's why the punishment was that instead of the main sustenance of man being something that grows on a tree, so it was degraded to the level of things that grow from the ground. It was degraded to the level of animal food. Okay, we'll get back to this soon. There's one opinion that the Eitz Hadas was a wheat tree, and the other opinion was that the Eitz Hadas was a grapevine. A grapevine. Okay, we're not going to do that. Some people put figs into the chavesis. Okay, so it does make it into the Seder, but another opinion is that it's a grapevine, which is a tree. We'd say that a tree. We say bar prates and grapes, and that is we're also fixing that with the mitzvah of abrakesis, with the mitzvah of the 4 cups of wine. Okay, so let's go through the menu of the Seder night and try to evaluate and try to analyze what exactly is each part of the Seder and how it's fixing a different element of the Eitz Hadas. Okay, so first of all, of course, we have matzah. Matzah is a mitzvah from the Torah. It says we need to eat that everybody needs to eat matzah, have a kazayas matzah. On the night of Pesach, we have we have yayin, we have wine. Okay, 4 cups of wine. There's a mitzvah to have 4 cups of wine. It's actually preferable to have wine over grape juice. Okay, unless you have a medical reason or you're in recovery. So it's important to have alcoholic wine. And we'll get to that. There was an Gemara. There's an Gemara that says that he was very allergic to wine, and it says that because he was allergic to wine, he wouldn't make kiddush on wine, and the only time that he ate wine was on the Seder. That he had 4 cups of wine, and because of the wine, so he had a headache until Shavuos. Every year he had a headache until Shavuos. So Rabbi Moshe Feinstein says that from the fact that he didn't have grape juice, you see that the main mitzvah of Leil Seder is specifically with alcoholic wine and not with grape juice. And then, of course, the main course is the Karban Pesach. Karban Pesach is the Paschal lamb that this mitzvah to eat. This Karban Pesach, so this is a different mitzvah of eating. This is different than every Karban. Every Karban. So there are Karbanos that we eat, but what's unique about the Karban Pesach is that the mitzvah is specifically with the eating, meaning that with Karbanos, so you have some Karbanos that the entire thing is brought on the Mizbech, that everything is burned on the altar, and you have other Karbanos that some of the pieces the Kohanim eat, and some of the pieces the owner eats, but it's the point is really it's a present to Hashem. The point of every Karban is that it's a present to Hashem, and even He allows us to eat some of it as His guest, so to speak. Karban Pesach is different. Karban Pesach is unique, that it's the only mitzvah that is the only Karban that the purpose of the Karban is for eating. Okay, so it's specific. This is the one Karban, the one sacrifice that the essence of the sacrifice is actually to be eaten. So this is the main course, I would say, and then of course we also have Mara, which is also a mitzvah. We have Al Chidas Mara. We make a bracha Asher Kedusha Mitzvah Vitzvano Al Chidas Mara. We're eating Mara, and we're enjoying the Mara, and we're making a bracha on the Mara, and also you have karpas. And karpas and Mara go together. The purpose of the karpas is actually intertwined with the mitzvah of the Mara, and so we'll try to analyze what exactly is the idea, what is exactly is the idea of the karpas and the Mara. Okay, so Tzadok notes that of the 3 main things that we're eating, matzah, wine, and meat. So bread, wine, and meat are 3 things that Adam HaRishon actually, it was not in his diet. That before the sin, so he was just eating things that grew from the tree. The fact that he ate that bread, so bread is a result of the curse. Bread is a result of the curse. It says that because of through the sweat of your brow you will eat bread. But before that, the bread was not what the main sustenance of human beings was supposed to be. Wine, the first person that we have drinking wine was Noach. Noach messed up and he got drunk from wine and he did inappropriate things. And so we don't find Adam HaRishon, we don't find Adam drinking wine in the Garden of Eden. And meat, certainly it was forbidden for Adam to eat meat. Okay? Adam was absolutely a vegetarian, and he was only permitted to eat meat after the times of Noach. So clearly the mitzvahs that we're doing are everything that we're eating, the bread, the wine, and the meat that we're eating. So each one of them is specifically dealing with something which is a new reality as a result of the tree of knowledge, as a result of the sin, that we're trying to fix something that got messed up, and we're trying to fix it through eating in a more proper way. Okay, so let's go one by one. Let's try to analyze what actually happened as a result of the tree of knowledge. What got messed up, and by understanding what got messed up, so we can understand what we're trying to fix and how to fix it through what we're doing. So the first thing that got messed up through the tree of knowledge is that before the tree of knowledge, so everything was simple. And as a result of the tree of knowledge, so everything became complicated. Now, what do I mean that everything became complicated? So the way that commentaries explain is like that before the sin of the tree of knowledge, so everybody knew the truth. Everybody knew what we're supposed to be doing. And the desire to go off wasn't even like, it was like something from the outside. It was like this voice. It was like, it's symbolized by a snake. That like something else, the outside external voice trying to convince me, trying to tell me to do what I'm not supposed to do. It was more of like a curiosity. As a result of the sin of the tree of knowledge, so I actually became confused. That the voices that tell me to do the wrong things, so they feel like they're coming from inside of me. They feel like I want to do wrong. Like I don't know what I want to do. Like I have these mixed feelings about what I should be doing. And that's where confusion comes. That's where complication comes. That all the pros and the cons of everything, it's all me. It's all I have to try to discern which is the real me, which is not the real me, but it's all together. Again, that's what it means that Eitz Hadas Tov Ra, that this Eitz Hadas, so it has the ability to mix together good and evil. Okay? So before the sin, so everything was clear, and after the sin, so everything was complicated. Okay? And the truth is that he sinned only through complications. The only way that Adam and Eve were able to sin was only because they overthink. Okay? Meaning, if they would have been thinking simply, then they never would have messed up. Like, Hashem told me not to eat it. Hashem loves me. What's the problem? That like, just because this snake has these crazy ideas, so why should I listen to a stupid snake? And like, I should trust God. And God created me. He's like, it doesn't make any sense that to think, maybe, like, really, Hashem has ulterior motives. Maybe he's really joking. Maybe like that's all thinking. That's all overthinking. That's not simplicity. It's really very far from simplicity. Like the whole way that he was able to justify the fact that he's going to sin is you have to be very, very smart to be able to justify why it's okay to do everything backwards. So you have to be very complicated. You have to be a very complicated person to justify a twisted way of life. Okay? So it's through complications that he sinned, and that's why, as a result of the sin, so the result was that the world became very complicated. So what is the tikkun for this? What is the rectification for this? So after this sin, so Hashem says that v'acharta et esav hasadeh, that from now on, so you're going to eat the grass of the ground. Okay, meaning that. So this is what I said before, that the Midrash says that his main sustenance came from tree food to vegetables. Okay, that from things that grow on trees to things that grow on the ground, and so what's special about things that grow on the ground is that it's very simple. It's just vegetables. It's just grass. It's different. Like there's not like the trees are very exciting. Trees have all the different colors. They have all the different flavors, and vegetables are very, very simple. And so when we're eating the karpas, we're eating the maror. So maror is lettuce. Maror is just like a simple vegetable. So what we're supposed to be thinking is that let's just be simple. Let's not, life doesn't have to be so complicated. I can just stick to what I need. Lettuce is good. It's green. It's a little bit tasty. It does the job. Who needs these top of the line smartphones? This the new one that came out just 2 months ago, and you have to switch in the one from 6 months ago because there's karpas and maror. There's something very simple about just the simplicity, and Rabbi Nachman is something that he talks about a lot, and he said that the most important thing to be a tzaddik is to be simple. And it's impossible to be a good Jew without being simple. And the complications of life, it's all about the Yetzer Hara, it's about tree of knowledge. And you're never going to succeed in life unless you're able to reach a certain level of simplicity. And he explains that simplicity means not to overthink. Okay, that overthinking is the source of all evil, and simplicity is the source of all goodness. That's why there's a pasuk in the Torah. It says, "Tamim tiyeh im Hashem Elokecha." You need to be simple with Hashem, and that's why the more that we overthink, so the more that we mess ourselves over. Okay, so overthinking can bring a person to self-doubt. Overthinking can bring a person to not be sure of things that he should be sure about and that he actually is sure about. And Rabbi Nachman has a story where he talks about simplicity, and he explains that sometimes overthinking can bring a person to just absurd conclusions. Okay, he explains that a person that overthinks, so he's always going to doubt himself. He's never going to be satisfied with himself. He's going to be a perfectionist. He's going to be that kind of person that when he gets 99 and a half, he's going to feel like a failure. He's going to be the person that's never really sure of himself. And because he's never sure of himself, so he's never going to get married. So he's never going to find a job. He's always going to think, maybe I can get better. Maybe maybe I made a mistake. And he's never going to make any decisions in life. He's never going to get anywhere. He explains that through overthinking, a person can come to really deny everything. Can really just a person that is going to overthink can come to atheism, because do you really know? Are you really 1,000? Are you 1,000,000% sure that there's a God? So if you're not 1,000,000% sure, so maybe like can you prove it? Can you prove it scientifically? Can you I don't know. I want to stay with what I'm sure about, and what I'm sure about. I'm sure about nothing. so what I have, and he says a very powerful line. He says that it's better to believe everything, and even believe things which aren't true, than to believe nothing, because then you don't believe in the truth. Like, if you have to have a choice, when push comes to shove, if you have to ask yourself, do I want to be a complicated person? Do I want to be a person that's always overthinking, that always wants proof, that always wants to know? So then I'm going to end up with nothing. And if I'm going to be simple, then I might believe things that aren't really true, but at least I also know the truth. Okay, so you're better off with a mentality of simplicity than a mentality of overthinking, and this is what Karpus represents. This is what Karpus says. I don't need to be so ambitious. I don't need to get the best job. Okay, I got offered an amazing job. It pays 50 agorot more than minimum wage, so it's not even minimum wage, and it's only 45-minute commute. So it's all this is awesome. And I got a job, and my friend who's a PhD, double PhD, triple PhD, so he only wants something in his specific field that's going to have 6 figures. So he's unemployed for the past 10 years, and so because he's unemployed, so he's also lonely and miserable. And last week he killed himself because he couldn't find a job. And I'm Baruch Hashem, so I have my simple job, and I'm happy, and so this is Mara and Karpas. Mara and Karpas is the simple lettuce. This is the most simple way of counteracting the sin of overthinking, counteracting the element of the Eitz Hadas that brought complication into the world. That to return to this place of simplicity, to return to this place that I'm just happy with my C. I'm happy with minimum wage. With what?
With your lot.
No, I meant to see it as in a grade, like a C plus, it didn't fail. Baruch Hashem, I didn't fail, and Baruch Hashem, I have a basically okay job, and Baruch Hashem, I have a basically okay family, and Baruch Hashem, I have a basically okay reality, and stop comparing yourself and stop thinking so much, and just be simple and be happy, and that's it. And that's that. So that's the meditation. That's meditation for the Mara. That's meditation for the Karpas. Okay, so now the truth is that there's a midrash that goes like this. That after Hashem said to Adam that you're going to eat the grass of the ground. So it says that Adam Rishon, so he started sweating, and he started getting all nervous, and he says, "What are you telling me that me and the cows are going to be eating together?" So because he was so freaked out about this, because he was so freaked out about the fact that he's going to be on the same level as an animal, so Hashem had compassion on him, And Hashem said, "B'zeh sapecha," because you were sweating so much, because you didn't want. This is the very next pasuk after he says, after he says that you're going to eat the grass. So he says, "B'zeh sapecha tochalecha." So the Midrash explains that because of the fact that you sweated so much about the fact that you're freaking out that you don't want to eat together with the animals, so tochalecha, so you'll have bread. And this is where bread comes in. And this is the matzah. This is the matzah. Okay, so now matzah, so it represents a different kind of simplicity. Okay, what's the matzah? What's the simplicity? What's the simplicity of matzah? So matzah is called lechem. Matzah is called lechem. It's called lechem oni. So the thing about lechem is that it takes work. Okay, to make work, to take a kernel of wheat and turn a kernel of wheat into a loaf of bread. So you need to sift it. You need to separate it. You need to grind it. You need to knead it. It's a lot of work. A lot of work. It needs to rise, and then the whole concept of making bread that's a simple understanding. That you're going to have bread through the sweat of your brow. The simple pshat is that you're going to have to work hard. Okay, so what does this represent? So Hashem is telling Adam that the first thing that you need to work on is simplicity, but through Torah you can reach a level of simplicity as well. Meaning there's a certain level of simplicity that's just be simple just because you're a vegetarian. There's another level of simplicity, that is the simplicity that comes through hard work. Okay, and so Tzadok says that the truth is that lechem, that these three things, that lechem, that bread, wine, and meat, right, are our menu for tonight, our menu for the Seder night. So all three of these things are references to Torah. There's a pasuk that says in Mishlei parak test, in the 9th parak of Mishlei, so Hashem says, "L'chu lachmu b'lachmi, ushtu yain masachti," that have my bread and drink my wine. And Rashi says that it's referring to Hashem's Torah. Okay, so and he says that the meat is also referred to as Torah, because it says by meat, it says in the Gemara that there was a Gemara that said that why are you chewing bones by Abaye? You should eat meat by Rava. Like he referred to the shear as eating meat. Okay, so these are all these the three things, the three kinds of food: bread, wine, and meat. So all three of them are symbolizing Torah. Okay, so there's a certain Torah which is symbolized by bread, and what bread is symbolizing is that through working hard you can also reach a level of simplicity. Okay, now what does that mean? That sometimes you have something which is really simple, but sometimes you can, through the complications. So when you make everything, when you think about it, and you take a step back, and you analyze it, and you analyze it more, and you analyze it even more, and then you make summaries, and you make more summaries, and you make summaries of the summaries. So then when you really reach the summary of the summary of the summary, so then it actually becomes something very simple. Okay? And so there's a certain simplicity that's just simple, and there's a simplicity that comes as a result of a lot of analyzing. Okay, so this is the element of Torah. This is the element of Torah that matzah is giving us, and that is that part of the amal, that part of the rigor of learning Torah is to try to make sure everything is clear, and to make sure that I understand everything properly, to make sure everything is in the right place, and to make sure that everything really makes sense and everything is really aligned. And after everything is really aligned, then it's simple. And there's a certain way of looking at life with simplicity that I can only gain through working everything out and coming to the simplicity. Okay, I'll tell you a story. There was once this girl that she had math homework. She was in like 4th grade, 5th grade, and she had math homework. And so she was in the park, and she saw this old man that was writing in his notebook, and there was a lot of numbers. So she figures that he knows math. So she asked him, "Could you help me with my math homework?" And so she It was a different generation back then. This is considered acceptable. And so she said, sure, no problem. And he helped her with her homework. And so next day, so he helped her again. Next day, and she mentioned something to her teacher, and she mentioned that there's this nice man in the park that helps me with my homework. And she asked, who's this man? And she said, I don't know. So she said, why don't you ask her? Why didn't you ask him? So the next day she said, my teacher wants to know who you are. So he said, no problem. He took out his business card and he gave it to her. He said, it says on this card what my name is. So she brought it to her teacher and said, this is his card. It said Albert Einstein. So she said, wow, your friend in the park, he's a really famous guy. Could you ask him if he wants to speak to our class, if he will come to speak to the class? So she said, my teacher wants to know if he will come to the class. He says, sure, no problem. So Einstein came to this fourth graders class, and he explained to them the theory of relativity. Because when you really, really understand something, so the people that hear it from Einstein, so they can never explain it to a 10-year-old. But when you really, really understand something, so it's really simple. When something is really, really simple, so then you can explain it in really simple terms. Right? So a person that doesn't really understand something, so everything is complicated. Mm-hmm. A person that really understands something, so everything is really, really simple. Okay, so if you have a rabbi that whenever you ask him something, so everything is always complicated, so that means that he doesn't really understand. Okay, and there's a certain amazingness, there's a certain talent in being able to make everything simple. And the truly great thinkers, they're the ones that are able to make great ideas simple. There's meaning that there's low level people that they can't connect to great ideas at all. And then there's a higher level people that can connect to great ideas, but it's really, really complicated. And then there's the greatest people that they connect to the great ideas, and they're able to find the place that the great ideas are actually simple. Okay, so that's what Lechem represents. Okay, that Adam Arishon. So he said first of all, Hashem said you need to be simple, so you need to just be a vegetarian. So he said, no, I can't be a vegetarian. That's too simple. And so Hashem said, okay, there's another way to simplicity. I'm going to give you an opportunity to get to simplicity through bread. That you're going to work hard, and through all of your toil, so you're going to reach a level of simplicity. Okay, so that's why the bread represents das. Das is it says that a person it says that a child isn't able to recognize to say Abba, Ima, until he has bread, until he has wheat. The wheat is something that gives a person das. And it's through wheat that a person connects to this understanding, which is specifically through wheat. So that is what we're trying to do when we're eating matzah. When we're eating matzah, so what we're actually doing is we're trying to connect to this place of das, to connect to the place of understanding, in a place of simplicity. Yeah. Bread is also simple, as menus go. So it doesn't have any fancy French names, doesn't have any sauces, it doesn't have any that bread. It is something very simple, but it's a simplicity that comes through toil. It's a simplicity that comes through hard work, that through doing the hard work, so that then a person, through the analyzing, then a person comes to a level of simplicity. Okay, so this is the first element. The first element of the Eitzadas, the first element of the sin that we're trying to fix on the Seder night is we're trying to become simple people. We're trying to rid ourselves of all elements of complications, being able to just be simple and to look at life with simple terms, with simple eyes, with simple perspectives. And so this is on two levels. That the first level is through the mar, and the second level is through the matzah. Okay, so this is the first element that we're trying to fix through the Leil Seder. Okay. Now we come to the wine. So what is wine doing? What is wine doing? Wine is a mentally altering substance. Okay, it changes our consciousness. Okay, now the Eitzadas also change our consciousness. mean, one of the problems, one of the parts, one of the elements of the Eitz Hadas, of the sin of this tree of knowledge was the element of arrogance, of the element of ego. How did the snake actually convince Adam and Eve to sin? So he told them that the reason why God said not to eat from the tree of knowledge is because He knows that you're going to be like Him, that you're going to be like God, and He wants you to be low, and so Chava was thinking like, wow, I want to be like God. That's so amazing to be like God. But like, hold on a second, like, are we supposed to want to be like God? Maybe it's okay. Maybe we're supposed to be just happy being little earthlings, little humans. Maybe like God is God and we're small. And so really the source of the sin was actually an ego thing. It was like, I want to be the top of the world. If this is going to make me the top of the world, I don't have to look up to a higher power anymore. So then like, I want that. And so the crazy thing is that that's actually how reality got messed over. That through the fact that Adam and Eve wanted to be the top of the world, so part of what got skewed as a result of the sin of the tree of knowledge was that their whole perspective on life got egotistic. And one of the things that changed as a result of the tree of knowledge was that now everything is all about me. Now everything is all about me. That it's all that it used to be that this is something that the Rambam talks about. We spoke about this at length, and there's a class that we did long ago about like what happened as a result of the tree of knowledge, and it says that before the sin, so Adam was able to look at the world objectively, and that's what emet and sheker is. Emet and sheker is it good, is it bad, from an objective perspective. And as a result of the tree of knowledge, so now it's all about tov and ra. What does it mean tov and ra? It means, how is it for me? How does it affect me? That every decision I'm going to make before the sin, so when I made the decision is this the right thing or is this the wrong thing? And after the sin, so every decision I'm making, so it's all about, is this going to serve me? Is it going to be harder for me? It's all about me. How I define everything in the world is all about how it affects me, how it serves me. The people that are the good people are the people that are good for me. The people that are the bad people are the people that are bad for me. And the way my entire look on life, it's all about me. So, and this is the greatest curse that you're going to be like God. The truth is, the God is supposed to be the one who decides what is the perspective of things, what is the hierarchy of things, what is the good things, what is the bad things. And as a result of the sin, so I'm like God, because whether or not it's good for me, that's what decides if it's good or bad. Okay, so this is the entire reality became skewed. That because of my ego, because of my desire for ego, so I actually turned into an egotistic perspective on life. So one of the symptoms of a spiritual experience is the person loses a sense of ego. Okay, when a person who's actually aligned with God, so he doesn't look at himself as the point, that he looks at himself as part of a higher existence, as part of a higher world, part of a bigger picture. And so this is actually one of the things that wine can actually help a person. That alcohol helps a person to kill their ego. That when a person gets a little bit affected by the wine, so then they feel that it's not about me. I'm part of something bigger. Okay, and this is why a person loses some of their inhibitions. Because when a person why does a person have inhibitions? Because they're all centered around themselves. Like what if like they're all thinking about what are people going to think? And like when a person is just when a person lets their inhibitions go, the reason why their inhibitions goes is because they stop thinking about what are people going to say about it. So that means they become part of this bigger reality. Okay? This is actually why it says in the Gemara, then ein amim shira el alayayin. Ein amim shira el alayayin. Literally, the person that you can't sing without wine. Okay. Now this means numerous things. It means, first of all, it means the Beis Hamikdash. There was music in the Beis Hamikdash. So it says the music in the Beis Hamikdash, the singing and the music in the Beis Hamikdash. They only did that when they were doing the wine libations onto the mizbech, when they have the carbon yain, the yain nesach and the sachem. But it's also true that that through wine, a person is able to come to a place in themselves that they're able to tune in to music, tune in to these melodies that are actually out there. They're able to tune into them through the fact that I lose my ego. There's a song from Eminem that he talks about that lose yourself to the music. That like you're on like he's talking about this guy that's on stage, and he's obsessed with himself. So because he's obsessed with himself, so he's messing up. And the only way that he can actually succeed in getting music out is only if he loses himself. Okay? And the truth is that as much as I'm into myself, so I can never really say shir. I can never really reach these melodies. I can really never reach these places of inspiration that can only be brought through losing myself and becoming part of this greater thing. So that's what wine does. Wine helps me to get rid of my ego, and that gets this place of shira, and this is why that like on a simple level that wine brings people together. We said that the first person who drank wine was Noach. And Noach, so he drank alone. When Noach drank alone, so that's a problem, and he got to bad places. The next time that we find people drinking was a good thing. It says that by Abraham met with Tzadok, and he drank with Tzadok. Tzadok was the son. He was the son of Noach. So the son of Noach was fixing the sin of Noach. The Noach's problem was that he was drinking alone. When he drank alone, so he came to inappropriate places. And Tzadok, his son, who was the king of Yerushalayim, so he was fixing his father's sin by drinking with Abraham, and through his drinking, he was reaching a place of losing his ego, which is bringing him to a place of elevation, was bringing him to a place of brachos. He was blessing Abraham, and Abraham was blessing Hashem, and he was coming to this higher consciousness, which is really setting the tone for the fact that really the Beis HaMikdash is really the greatest place where a person is able to lose himself. So, and this is really a thing. Like in Chabad, like there's a thing not to drink alone. Like you don't drink alone, because when you're drinking alone, then you can't escape your ego when you're by yourself. But when you're drinking with somebody, so then through the drinking, so then you're able to lose your ego and become together. And that's why the next time after Tzadok, the next time we find drinking in the Torah is that Yosef and his brothers were drinking together. It says Vayishto Vayishkru Imai, and this is the beginning of their coming together after these years and years and years of this horrible strife of them hating each other. So the thing that was able to bring them together was the drinking, because the alcohol was able to help them to destroy their ego, and through the destroying their egos, they were able to come together. So now, as a result of destroying your ego, so a person really comes to their inner voice. And that's why wine in the Seder, so wine is the mitzvah midrabanan. Wine represents the mitzvah d'Rabbanan, the rabbinic mitzvah, and that's why wine in Chazal represents Torah Sheba'al Peh. That when the Torah talks about wine, so then the bread is the Torah Sheba'al and the wine represents the Torah Sheba'al Peh. So the wine represents the inner. The wine represents the pnimiyut. Okay, and that's why it says there's a famous thing that we say by Purim, that nichnas yain yatsa sod. That wine is the gematria of 70, and sod, secrets, is the gematria of 70. That when you have wine, so then your secrets come out. Okay, so wine represents the secrets of Torah. Okay, wine represents that the inner meaning of Torah that is represented by the wine. So, which is the things that Hashem didn't tell us, but He wants us to say it ourselves. Hashem wants us to figure it out ourselves. That to find my chidush, to find my novelty in Torah, my place in Torah. What does this say to me? So the only way that I can say, the only way that I can find my chidush in Torah is only if I lose my ego. Is only if I actually want to tune in to this symphony of Torah, then I can find my personal place. So that's what the mitzvah d'Rabbanan. Mitzvah d'Rabbanan is that human beings can become a part of the symphony of Torah? How did they become a part of the symphony of Torah? By finding their personal place. How did they find their personal place? By becoming part of the conversation, by losing their ego and saying, I want to be part of this, by letting themselves go. To lose themselves, only by losing themselves to the Torah, so then they find their personal place, their personal chiddush, and that's where mitzvahs d'Rabbanan, that is what we're symbolizing by the 4 cups of wine. Okay, the 4 cups of wine is the mitzvah d'Rabbanan. The mitzvah d'Rabbanan, this represents that through drinking, so I'm nullifying myself to the reality of Hashem in order to find my melody, in order to find my music, in order to find like my chiddush in the Torah. That's why it says that ein simcha ela b'yayin. It says that the place of simcha, there's a mitzvah to be happy on Yantiv, and it says ein simcha ela b'yayin. Now, there's an interesting thing. Well, we're going to talk about this in a moment. That many of you might have heard a saying that it says ein simcha ela b'basar v'yayin, with meat and wine. The truth is that's not what the Gemara says. The Gemara says that ein simcha ela b'yayin. It says that when there's a Beis Hamikdash, then ein simcha ela b'basar shlamim. When there's a Beis Hamikdash, then simcha is through bringing karbanot and eating the meat from the karbanot. And when there's no Beis Hamikdash, then ein simcha ela b'yayin. So now it's a very interesting thing. We're going to talk about this in a moment. That where does it actually come from? Ein simcha ela b'basar comes from the Rambam. So my theory is that the Rambam was a rationalist. So what does it mean that ein simcha ela b'basar shlamim? Ein simcha ela b'basar shlamim. So what it means is that there's a special quality to holy meat. When you eat holy meat, when you eat sacrificial meat, so then there's something spiritual in the meat. That spiritual essence, that's what makes you happy. That's a simple understanding of the Gemara. Because otherwise, because the Gemara says clearly that it's only when there's a sacrifice. It's only if it's a korban. When there's no Beis Hamikdash, so okay, then eat steaks. No, the Gemara says no. If there's a Beis Hamikdash, they have to have yayin, right? The simple understanding of the Gemara is that something special about the spirituality of the meat that's making you happy. But the Rambam didn't really believe in that because he was a rationalist. So he had to have this alternative pshat. Yeah, that's what brought him to think, no, you really. Meat is meat. Meat is meat. If it makes you happy, so that's why he understood that it means that no, meat is meat. If it's just like somebody explains in the Rambam that when there's no Beis Hamikdash, then you're depressed. So first you have to take care of the wine. You have to take care of your depression. So the wine takes care of depression. Okay, you didn't hear me say that. And once this is, I think the thing Yeshua says this, and that so once the wine takes care of depression, once you're not depressed, then you can have wine with then you're able that the meat is going to. Okay, but that's not the simple understanding is the only yayin is able to make you happy. That the simple understanding is the ein simcha ela b'yayin. That the Gemara only says that ein simcha ela b'yayin, that the only thing that brings you true happiness is really yayin, because the true happiness requires that you lose your ego. That you stop being obsessed with yourself, to forget about yourself, and the only way that you're going to be happy is through letting go of your ego. And so that's what the yayin is. So our meditation for the 4 cups of wine is specifically this: is that I want to lose myself. I want to realize that it's not about me, that I'm just part of this greater existence. I want to tune in to the symphony of Hashem in the world. I want to tune into this greater existence, that I'm just this tiny speck in this universe, and through understanding that I'm part of something big, then I can tune into my personal melody to find my chidush, to find my ideas, and through this, and only through this, can I actually find true happiness. Okay, so this is what I'm doing during the 4 cups of wine, and this is actually this is obviously a deeper das. This is that the first das that we're trying to come to through the bread, that the simplicity of through toil and through organization and taking a step back and trying to organize things and trying to summarize things and take the summaries of the summaries and the summaries of the summaries of the summaries, but to reach my pnimiyut. So that's also a das. Okay, meaning that people who are superficial people who live life, that everything is all about the outside, everything is about the status, everything is about the way it seems. So those are people that don't have das. And to have das means that I'm connected to my inside, I'm connected to the deeper meaning of reality, that I'm living life on an inner level. I'm experiencing everything that through my deepest secrets, that I'm living a secret life. I'm living a secret life in everything I do. That I'm connected to the deepest part of myself, which is beyond my ego. Okay, so this is the second element of our menu, and that is the wine. And now we come to the third. The third one we don't really have. The third one we don't really have nowadays, because the third element of the menu and the Leil Seder is obviously the Korban Pesach. Now the Korban Pesach is supposed to be last. That's why nowadays in our Seders, so we eat the Afikaimen. The Afikaimen is a zecher to the Korban Pesach. We eat it at the end of the meal because it needs to be eaten when you're not hungry. It's not respectable to eat the Korban Pesach when you're starving. So first we fill up, and then we're not full, but we're not hungry anymore. So then that's when you're supposed to eat the Korban Pesach, and that's the Afikaimen. So now, how's the Afikaimen the third way that we're fixing the sin of the tree of knowledge? So the third thing that got messed up as a result of the tree of knowledge was that the whole way that we relate to physicality and materialism. Meaning that the concept of taivas, the concept of physical lust. So this is all a result of the sin of the tree of knowledge. This was evident also in the motivation of the tree of knowledge, that Chava says that it's tavayil u'nanayim, that it's like it looks delicious. It looks like something that will just be so good to taste. And also, so this is something that as a result of the sin, so the way that they related to the physical world changed. Okay, in other words, that before the sin, so there was a person could taste Hashem in physical life. The person living a physical existence, I would feel Hashem's presence in everything. The very interesting thing that we seem to we overlook that Adam and Chava in the Garden of Eden. So we know that they had a mitzvah. We know that they had a mitzvah not to eat from the tree of knowledge. But the Ramah Mipana writes that it wasn't just not to eat from the tree of knowledge. There's another pasuk in the Torah. It says, "Mikol etzagan achal tochel." Hashem commands them, you must eat from every tree of the garden. They had a commandment to eat from every tree. So meaning that there was something holy about everything that they were going to be eating. What does it mean that there's a mitzvah? What does it mean that it's a holy thing for them to eat? It means that it's a way for them to come close to Hashem. So before the sin, every single part of the garden, every single food that there was simply a way of connection with Hashem. Okay? It was just, they were feeling closeness, they were feeling holiness in everything that they were eating, and there was a complete connection between the world of the physical and the world of the spiritual. That was messed up. Now, after the sin, so now a person that's obsessed with food, so then that they're going to take them away from Hashem. A person that's obsessed with any physical pleasure, so if a person, it's impossible to be obsessed with physical pleasure. With the more that I eat, the more that I forget about Hashem. Okay, so what's the one place that this is not the case? The one place that is not the case is in the Beis Hamikdash. Okay, and the Beis Hamikdash is that when I'm eating meat, so I'm able to connect with Hashem through the meat and feel Hashem's closeness through this meat. I have a friend in Beit Shemesh that he has. I think he has a podcast. I think the name of the podcast is "Let's Get Fleischiks." Let's get Fleischiks. So he told me once that what's the idea of Let's Get Fleischiks? So there's two meanings. First of all, there's something that I always tell people at third meal when they don't want to eat machalans because they want to eat, because they might want to have coffee later, they might want to have pizza later. So the first thing about let's get fleischiks is that when a person is thinking like, do I really want to lock myself in for the next 6 hours? So then let's get fleischiks means there is no tomorrow. The only thing that matters is right now. Right now, there's an amazing hamburger. How could you give up this moment? How could you give up this hamburger? There is no 6 hours from now. Just completely live the moment. That's one element of let's get fleischiks. But he said there's another Leskefeshiks, and that is like that his like he has this picture of this vision of a guy like with a huge shawarma sandwich, and he's like is like devouring this shawarma, and like this the grease is like falling into his beard, and it's just like completely engrossed in his fleishiks. Like,
you should do advertisements for whoever sells this shawarma. Making me hungry.
So part of Alaska Fleishiks is that to be completely one, to be like you can imagine, like he becomes like a piece of meat to this guy, and so there's something that when a person is getting Fleishiks, so part of getting Fleishiks is that you become completely obsessed with the food. Okay, so his idea was that like that's how I want you to be obsessed with Torah. I want you to be so that like. And that's how our connection to Torah is. That it's just there is nothing else besides the fact that I'm just feeling this Torah inside of me, and that's the way it was in the Beis Hamikdash. When a person was eating from the karban, and that's the way when we were eating the karban Pesach. So we were feeling such a solid physical reality of the spiritual experience. That this was a way that it was becoming really, really part of us, and so. So there's a lot more to talk about this. About like that how the goal of the physical world is actually to be an expression of the spiritual world, and it's really not supposed to be. It's really not supposed to be a conflict. It's really supposed to be that they complement each other. But but that can't exist until we have a Beis Hamikdash. A part of the mess up of the tree of knowledge was that. Ultimately, there's going to be something in the physical world which is going to take us away from Hashem, which is going to take us away from the world of spirituality, and so that's why the tikkun of eating from the karban Pesach, which is the grand finale of the Leil Seder, is that as a result of this misplaced lust, this misplaced desire for physical pleasure, which resulted in the way that mankind forever and ever from that day. So the way that we relate to physical pleasure is something that is at odds with the world of spirituality. So then we're trying to fix that through the karban Pesach and through this eating with holiness. And so now what do we do? What do we do now? We don't have a karban Pesach. We have an Afikomen, which is Baruch Hashem. I love my Afikomen, but how can we connect to this third tikkun without having a Beis Hamikdash? So I saw once a beautiful thing, and that is that the simple level of achila b'kedusha that we can have in this world, of eating with holiness in this world, is something we spoke about at Tu B'Shvat, is that to know that Hashem loves me, that to know that every time that I'm eating something, every time that I'm enjoying something, to be conscious of the fact that when Hashem is looking down at me, so He's happy in the fact that I'm happy. And just to bring that into our consciousness, to think about the fact that as I'm enjoying this hamburger, so Hashem is looking at me and He's saying, I'm so happy that you're happy. And when I'm thinking about the fact that Hashem is happy about the fact that I'm happy, so then Hashem is so happy about that. So that's a very simple achila b'kedusha. That's a holy eating that you don't have to be a big tzadok to connect to this. This is a very simple achila b'kedusha. This is a healthy way to relate to the world of physicality, to the world of materialism. Is that if I bring into my consciousness the fact that Hashem is happy with the fact that I'm enjoying myself, so I'm bringing Hashem into my experience. And so this is a very simple way that we can really rectify the sin of the tree of knowledge, and to rectify this element of physical lust and physical desires, and to bring Hashem into our physical desires, and to bring Hashem into our physical enjoyment. So is really the greatest tikkun of this sin. So this is what we're trying to accomplish through every element of the tree of the Leil Seder, and we're trying to fix everything that's in the greatest way. And this is really, we're fixing all of the complications of the world, and we're trying to eating the maror and eating the bread, the matzah, is we're coming back to simplicity, through the wine, so we're trying to kill our ego, and through the Afikaimen, and through the Karban Pesach, B'ezrat Hashem. So we're retaining our healthy connection to physicality. And so by overturning, by fixing, by rectifying all of the sins, all of the problems, all of the mess-ups of the sin of the tree of knowledge, so this is really brings the Geula, and that's why through the exercises of the Leil Seder, this is really what helps us to bring to the next step in reality, to tell Hashem that we're ready for Geula, we're ready for this altered state of consciousness, we're ready for a reality in which that everything is simple, everything is conscious, is ego-free, and everything is just me'uchad, everything is united, the physical and spiritual, everything is connected to Hashem. So l'chaim, b'ezrat Hashem.